The morning sun filtered through the tall windows of Hamilton Tower, casting long shadows across the polished marble floors of the executive conference room. Dorothy Matthews pushed her cleaning cart down the hallway as she had done every weekday morning for the past 12 years. At 62 years old, she moved with the steady, unhurried grace of someone who had learned long ago that rushing through life meant missing its quiet blessings. Dorothy had raised 3 children on her own after her husband passed when she was just 35. She had worked 2 jobs for years to put them through school, and now they were all grown with families of their own. This cleaning job at the downtown office tower was her peaceful morning routine before the building filled with the rush of business people in expensive suits talking on phones that never seemed to stop ringing. She hummed softly to herself an old hymn her grandmother used to sing as she wiped down the glass doors leading to the main boardroom. Through the transparent surface she could see a group of men in dark suits gathered around the large conference table. They looked agitated, uncomfortable even. In the center of the room stood a younger man, perhaps in his late 30s, wearing traditional white robes and a headscarf. His face showed a mixture of frustration and disappointment. Dorothy had seen many meetings in her years here, but something about this scene made her pause. The young man was speaking, trying to communicate something clearly important, but the expressions on the faces around him showed only confusion and growing impatience. The company president, Marcus Wellington, stood at the head of the table. Dorothy knew him slightly, as he always nodded kindly when passing her in the halls. He was wringing his hands, a gesture she had never seen from the usually confident executive. She could hear muffled voices through the heavy door. The young man was speaking in Arabic, his words flowing with an urgency that needed no translation. But the men around the table could only shake their heads, apologize, and shuffle papers nervously. Dorothy's hand went to the small gold cross she wore around her neck, a gift from her late mother. She thought of her youngest son James, who had joined the Peace Corps after college and spent 3 years in Jordan. He had come home changed, softened in the best way by experiencing how people lived on the other side of the world. He had taught her a few phrases in Arabic during his visits home, delighting in sharing this new part of himself with his mother. She remembered sitting at her small kitchen table on Sunday afternoons as James told her stories of the families who had welcomed him into their homes. He spoke of their generosity, their warmth, how they had taught him that kindness was truly a universal language even when words failed. Dorothy had listened carefully to every story, treasuring these glimpses into her son's new understanding of the world. Now, standing outside this boardroom, watching frustration build on both sides of a language barrier, Dorothy felt something stir in her heart. It was the same feeling she had gotten years ago when she saw a lost child in the grocery store, or when a neighbor needed help but was too proud to ask. It was the quiet voice that had guided her through raising 3 children alone, through grief and hardship, and ultimately toward a life filled with more joy than she could have imagined in those dark early days. She took a breath, pushed her cart to the side, and gently opened the boardroom door. All heads turned toward her. She saw surprise on most faces. After all, she was just the cleaning lady, not someone who typically interrupted important meetings. But Marcus Wellington's expression softened with recognition, and he did not ask her to leave. Dorothy stepped forward, her worn, comfortable shoes silent on the thick carpet. She looked at the young man in traditional dress and saw in his eyes something she recognized immediately. It was the look of someone far from home, trying desperately to be understood, carrying something important that others could not see. She spoke softly in Arabic, the words careful and accented but clear. Assalamu alaikum. Peace be upon you. The young man's face transformed. His eyes widened and then filled with tears. Wa alaikumu assalam, he replied. And upon you be peace. The room fell completely silent. Dorothy continued slowly in her limited Arabic, asking simple questions. She asked if he was well, if he needed help, what he was trying to say to these men. The young man responded, and though her vocabulary was modest, she understood enough. He was trying to explain that there had been a terrible misunderstanding about a contract. His family's company had not backed out of the agreement as these American executives believed. There had been an error in translation in the documents sent between the 2 countries. He had flown here personally to explain, to preserve the partnership his late father had worked so hard to build. Dorothy turned to Marcus Wellington and the other executives. In her gentle, unhurried voice she explained what the young man had told her. She spoke of the translation error, of his father's recent passing, of his journey here to honor his family's commitment and to save a partnership that meant everything to them. As she spoke, Dorothy saw the tension drain from the room like water from a tub. Marcus Wellington's face shifted from confusion to understanding and then to something like shame that they had let language become such a barrier. The young man whose name was Kareem spoke again and Dorothy translated. He says his father always taught him that true partnership requires patience and the willingness to listen even when understanding is difficult. He apologizes for the confusion and asks only for the chance to make things right. Marcus Wellington stepped forward and extended his hand to Kareem. Please tell him we are the ones who should apologize. We should have found a way to truly hear him. We are grateful he came all this way and grateful beyond measure that you were here to help us understand. Dorothy translated and Kareem's face broke into a smile of relief and gratitude. He took Marcus's hand in both of his own, a gesture of respect and genuine warmth. What followed was the kind of conversation that restores faith in human connection. With Dorothy's help, however halting, they worked through the misunderstanding. Papers were reviewed, corrections were noted, and within an hour the partnership was not only saved but strengthened by the experience of overcoming such a significant obstacle together. When the meeting concluded, Kareem approached Dorothy. Through her translations he thanked her not just for her words but for her willingness to step forward when no one else could. My father used to say that angels walk among us in ordinary clothes, he said, his eyes shining. Today I know this is true. Dorothy felt warmth spread through her chest. She thought of her own father who had worked in a factory all his life but who had taught her that every person deserves dignity and respect regardless of their position or their appearance. She thought of her mother who had shown her that serving others was not about being less than them but about recognizing our shared humanity. Your father sounds like he was a wise man, Dorothy said. I lost my husband many years ago and I raised my children remembering what he taught me about kindness. We never know when we will be the one who needs help or when we will be the one who can give it. We are all just walking each other home. Kareem nodded, understanding even before the words were fully translated. Some truths transcended language. As Dorothy prepared to leave the boardroom, Marcus Wellington approached her. Dorothy, I have seen you in these halls for years and I am ashamed to say I never knew you spoke Arabic. I never really knew you at all. Dorothy smiled, the kind of smile that held no judgment, only the patience of someone who had long ago learned that people often cannot see what is right in front of them until they are ready. Most people see the uniform, not the person wearing it, she said simply. But that is all right. We all did in one way or another. The important thing is what we do when we finally open our eyes. Marcus was quiet for a moment. Would you consider helping us with other translations when needed? We clearly need someone who understands more than just words. Dorothy thought about it. She thought about her small apartment, her Sunday dinners with her children and grandchildren, her simple routine that brought her such contentment. I will help when I can, she said finally. But I like my mornings cleaning these floors. There is a peace in it that I treasure. Perhaps I could come in occasionally when you truly need someone to bridge the gap. And that is what she did. In the months that followed, Dorothy became something of a legend in Hamilton Tower. Not because she was extraordinary in the way the world usually measures such things, but because she reminded everyone who encountered her that the most valuable gifts we have to offer each other are often the simplest. A willingness to listen, the courage to step forward when others step back, the recognition that we are all more alike than we are different. Kareem's company and Marcus Wellington's firm went on to build a successful partnership that lasted for years. And every time Kareem visited from overseas, he made sure to arrive early enough to find Dorothy with her cleaning cart in the quiet morning hours. They would sit in the break room and talk about their families, their losses, their hopes for their children. They spoke in a mixture of Arabic and English, creating their own language of friendship that needed no perfect translation. Years later, when Dorothy finally retired at 70, the company held a reception in her honor. The boardroom was filled with people whose lives she had touched, often in ways they were only beginning to understand. Kareem flew in from abroad to be there. In his speech he said, "Dorothy taught me that my father was right. Angels do walk among us in ordinary clothes. And if we are very blessed, they push a cleaning cart and speak to us in words that come from the heart." Dorothy stood before them all, this woman who had raised 3 children alone, who had worked hard every day of her life, who had learned Arabic from her son on Sunday afternoons because she loved him and wanted to understand his world. She looked out at the faces before her and felt the same peace she had always known. The peace that comes from living a life of quiet service. The peace that comes from knowing that kindness is never wasted even when it seems small. I am just a woman who tried to help when help was needed, she said, her voice steady and warm. We all have gifts to share if we are brave enough to offer them. The world does not need more people who know everything. It needs more people who are willing to learn, who are willing to listen, who remember that on the other side of every barrier there is just another person trying to find their way home. The room erupted in applause, but Dorothy was already thinking about her grandson's soccer game that evening, about the pot roast she would make for Sunday dinner, about the ordinary beautiful moments that made up a life well lived. Outside the windows the sun was setting over the city, painting the sky in shades of amber and gold. And in that light everything seemed connected, woven together by invisible threads of grace that held them all, whether they knew it or not, in the gentle embrace of a love that spoke every language and none, requiring only an open heart to be understood.